So today we are going to discuss the next topic of this chapter, that is electric flux and the Gauss law. So first let us discuss the electric flux. So what we understand by the term electric flux. So the quantity flux is basically related with the amount of electric field lines which are associated with a surface. So when we say electric flux, so what is the term electric flux? It is the amount of electric field lines that are linked with a closed surface, or we can say open surface. So let us try to understand this electric flux. So here you can see a given surface of area A and the electric field lines are shown. The electric field intensity is given by E. So how we write the electric flux? It is given by phi, the symbol of flux, and it is written as integration E dot dE. So this integration represents the total flux over the whole area of the surface. So the flux is denoted by the symbol phi, and the expression of flux is given by E, that is electric field dot dA. Now area is a vector quantity. So how come area is a vector quantity? So area is basically having magnitude and as well as direction. So let us try to understand this area. So here you can see that if we consider a surface like this, right, and this is the plane of the surface, and we want to find the area. So what will be the direction of the area? So the direction of the area is given like this. So always remember the area is perpendicular to the surface. Clear? So area vector is always perpendicular to the surface. So which type of quantity is area? So it is a vector quantity. Why it is a vector quantity? Because it has both magnitude as well as direction. So for a given surface, how to find out the direction of area vector? So the direction is always given by perpendicular. So now you can come back to the previous diagram, that this is the surface in which the area vector is shown. So in this surface, which one will be the direction of area vector? It has to be perpendicular. So perpendicular means this will be the direction, right? So this is the perpendicular direction of the surface. So here how to define the flux? It is given by E dot dA. So flux depends upon two factors. First one is electric field, second one is area. Now flux is the dot product of two vector quantities. So obviously the flux will be a scalar quantity. This you have got in class 11 also, that the dot product of two vector quantities will be a scalar quantity. So we can say that the flux will change when we change the electric field, or when we change the area, or when we change the angle between the electric field and the area vector. So these are the quantities on which the flux will depend. So what will be the SI unit of flux? The SI unit is given by Newton meter square per coulomb. As you know that the unit of electric field was Newton per coulomb, and it is multiplied by area, so this will become Newton meter square per coulomb. So let us try to discuss flux in detail in various type of surface. You can see the first surface is given, say the electric field lines are directed like this. These are the direction of the electric field. Now how much will be the flux we are going to get here? So what will be the direction of the area vector? So the direction is perpendicular, so this is the direction of the area vector, right? So you can see that both the direction of area vector and electric field are in the same direction, so the angle between them will be 0. So the flux will be how much? It is simply E dot E. So why it is E dot E? Because you can see the expression of flux, it is given by this quantity E dot product. So and if there is a dot product, then you know that the angle is given by cos theta, and cos 0 is how much? 1. So I think it is clear. So the flux in the first case it will be E dot A, and in the second case what will be the flux? So let us denote the electric field lines. Say these are the electric field lines. And here what will be the direction of the area vector? So the direction is perpendicular. So this is the direction of the area vector. So here you can see that the angle between the electric field and the area vector is perpendicular, right? So if it is perpendicular, then what will be cos 90? Cos 90, as you know, that it is 0. So the flux in the second case will be how much? 0. So you've seen that when we change the orientation of the surface, then the flux will also change. So when we change the angle between the electric field and area vector, then also we can see there is a change in the flux. So I think these two cases are very much clear to all of you. So let us move to the next case. This one here, a cuboid is placed in the uniform electric field. So it is given to calculate the total flux. So there are four surfaces. If we consider this is 1, this is 2, this one is 3, and this one is 4. So let us find out the direction of the area vector first. So for the first surface, the direction is like this, right? This is the direction of the area vector. For the third surface, this is the direction. For fourth surface, this will be the direction. For the second surface, the direction is given like this. So I think it is clear to all of you how we have got the direction of area vector. So area is always perpendicular to the given surface. So we have considered the perpendicular direction. So for the first surface, the flux will be how much? So for the first surface, the angle between the area and electric field is 0. So the flux will be given by EA, right? And similarly for the third and fourth surface, the flux will be how much? It will become 0. Why it is 0? Because the angle between the electric field and area is how much? It is equal to 90. So for the third and fourth surface, the flux will become 0. And for the second surface, as you know that the angle between the area vector and the electric field, both are opposite in direction. So if it is opposite in direction, so what will be the angle? It will be 180, and cos 180 is minus 1. So this will be minus EA. So what is the total flux? So total flux will be 0. Clear? So here also you have seen that the net flux of the cuboid will be how much? 0. Because one will be EA, another will be minus EA, so the sum will come out 0. So I think it is clear to all of you how we have calculated the flux and what is the meaning of flux. So let us go to the next topic, that is very important, Gauss law. So it is related with the electric flux. The statement is given like this, that amount of electric flux passing through a closed surface. So the surface has to be closed, is equal to 1 upon epsilon naught times the total charge enclosed within the surface. That means if we consider a closed surface in which you can see the diagram, in which there are two charges q1 and q2, and outside the closed surface there is another charge q3. So when we write the electric flux, then from using the Gauss law, it is written like this, that flux equal to q1 plus q2 divided by epsilon naught. So here you can see that which charges we have taken here. We have only taken the charges which are present inside the closed surface, not outside. So in the Gauss law, always remember which charges we are going to consider, only those charges which are present inside the closed surface. And there is one more important thing. This electric field is due to both charges. Both charges means both outside and inside charge. So I think it is clear to all of you. The electric field is because of both the charge, both inside and outside charge, but the expression for electric flux that we write using the Gauss law, in the right hand side, the charge will only be considered the inside charge that is present inside the closed surface. So here in this case it is given by q1 plus q2. So this is the Gauss law. So what is the statement? Let us see the statement again. The amount of electric flux passing through a closed surface is equal to 1 upon epsilon naught times the total charge enclosed within the surface. That means the amount of flux that is present, that is equal to the charge present inside the surface divided by epsilon naught. Now let us see the derivation of Gauss law. This is a very important question for your board exam. So first we have to write the statement. We have considered a point charge q that is placed at the center of a closed surface. So whenever we apply the Gauss law, first we have to consider a closed surface. It can be spherical surface, it can be cylindrical surface, it can be a planar surface. So but it has to be closed. So let us see the closed surface here. We have taken a sphere of radius r, right? So what will be the area of the sphere? So the area of the sphere is given by 4 pi r square. I think this you are aware of this. Area of a sphere is given by 4 pi r square. So we have placed a point charge q at the center of the sphere, and you know that for a positive charge the electric field lines will be radially outward. So this we have discussed earlier. So here you can see that all the electric field lines are perpendicular to the Gaussian surface. So which one is our Gaussian surface? This one. So this is known as the Gaussian surface, right? So this is the Gaussian surface, and for a Gaussian surface the electric field lines will be perpendicular. So here you can see that we have to consider a very small elementary area dA as shown in the figure. So this we have considered a very small area dA. Now can you tell me what is the direction of this area vector? So as you all know that area vector is perpendicular, so the area vector is shown by a cap, and it is directed along the direction of the electric field. Why? Because area is perpendicular, electric field is also perpendicular, so both the direction will be same. So here you can see that the angle between the electric field and the area vector will be 0. Why it is 0? Because the direction of both the field and the area vector are same. So what will be the flux due to the very small area that is given by E dot dA cos 0? So that will come out how much? E into dA. So this is our very small flux for the very small area dA. So this we have given equation number 1. Now for the whole surface, what we have to do? We have to simply integrate. So integration of small flux d phi will be equal to integration of E dot dA equal to integration. E is constant since E electric field is uniform everywhere, right? Electric field is uniform everywhere. So it is a constant quantity, so we can take it outside of the integration. So finally the expression will become E into A, and area of the sphere already we have done earlier, so that was 4 pi r square. So by putting the expression for electric field now, k q by r square, we can got the expression. So k is again 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So 4 pi and 4 pi will get cancelled out. R square will get cancelled out. So how much we are going to get? Phi equal to q by epsilon naught. So this is the whole derivation of the Gauss law. So here you can say that the net flux, that is denoted by E vector dot dA vector. So that is equal to how much? The total charge enclosed within the surface divided by epsilon naught. So this is our Gauss law. Very important derivation. This you have to practice, and then you will be able to understand. So what are the steps that need to be followed? First we have to consider a closed surface, then we have to give the direction of electric field lines and area vector. If both the electric field and area vector are same, then the angle will become 0 degree. So then we have to write the flux for the very small area dA. Then after writing the small flux d phi, then we have to integrate for the whole surface. So after integration you will get the total flux. So this is the derivation of Gauss law. So in the next class, we are going to discuss some of the application which are related to Gauss law. So I think you have understood today's class. Thank you all of you.